electrical engineering degree from Duke and then my medical degree from Duke. But I realized when I was out trying to raise money to start a business that I really actually didn't know how our economy works. And I really didn't really understand basic things about what it is that makes our economic system, and especially work with our political system. Well, honestly, when I started to figure this out, and I started to ask basic questions about where money comes from, why it is we have this thing we call inflation, and when I'm out trying to raise money to start a hospital software company, why is it that the government cares so much about who they're going to even let invest in my company, I began to realize that our nation was on a very dangerous path. And I think Ronald Reagan, since we're here at the Ronald Reagan Legacy Dinner, had some great things to say about this. And one of my favorite Reagan quotes of all times is Reagan's comments on the government's view of our economy. Reagan said something that I just think was so profound. If it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. And if it stops moving, subsidize it. And that's pretty much what we see, and that's pretty much what I saw. And in fact, when we started our business, and we were in business selling software to hospitals to make doctors more efficient and make patients safer in the hospital, I quickly began to realize that I was experiencing a little bit of the American dream. I was experiencing true free market capitalism. I was experiencing a business that succeeded based upon taking good care of its customers, doing well by doing good. But then as the company grew, and we were actually growing our company through the implementation of Sarbanes-Oxley, right? I'm sure people remember Sarbanes-Oxley, this legislation we passed to prevent financial fraud. Well, I began to realize that our compliance costs were going up, and we had to jump through these hoops, and well, gosh, all of a sudden we're spending more time taking care of our government instead of taking care of our customers. And then I started to fast forward a few more years and ask some more questions, and I began to realize that, wait a minute, we passed this legislation called Sarbanes-Oxley in response to the collapse of a really well-known energy company. Anyone remember why we passed Sarbanes-Oxley? Enron, exactly. And what did Enron do that was wrong? Why did we have to pass this legislation? What did they do? They lied, right? They committed fraud. They had off-balance sheet liabilities. They were lying to their investors. They were lying to the public. And in fact, in a period of time that was stunningly short, less than 4 weeks, Enron went from being one of the world's largest energy companies to just a bankrupt hollow shell of nothing, with a whole lot of lawsuits and criminal prosecutions to follow. So then we passed this law, right? And this law, which is intended to prevent financial fraud, I found it extremely ironic when I began to look around and realize that my very own government was committing the exact same financial fraud that brought down Enron. And that's pretty stunning when you think about it. And it's pretty stunning when you begin to think about the implications of what has been the world's largest economy, the land of opportunity, the place that is supposed to, more than anywhere else, embody the economic freedom that lets people succeed by doing good. When our own government is lying to the American people, it's been lying to me, it's been lying to you, it's been lying to all of us about the state of our economy, the off-balance sheet liabilities, the liabilities that we're taking on to bail out the financial sector and the housing market. All of these things are just kind of happening. Are we powerless to stop them? So when I ran for Congress in 2008, and the continuing the race I'm running in 2010, it's really based on a very simple message. We've had enough. We, the American people, and we as Republicans have got to stand up and put our foot down and say, you know what? Enough of lying. When I was in medical school, one of the most meaningful interactions I had, serious interactions I had, was going through my psychiatry rotations, and we actually spent time meeting with and working with people who are, and continue to be to this day, recovering addicts. So I'd go to AA meetings and NA meetings, and we were working with people participating in the process of recovery. And recovery for an addict it requires something very, very, very critical, very, very important. The addict, him or herself, has to recognize first and foremost that he or she's got a problem, right? They've got to hit bottom. We as a nation, I think, are getting closer, but we're not there yet. We're still very much addicted to systems and processes and intrinsic corruption that threatens our future. And I'm going to give a shout out to my good friend and partner in arms, Dr. Timothy Johnson there in the back. Dr. Johnson is the vice chair of our North Carolina Republican Party. And I think Tim has something very important to say to all of us in this room. he said this to me as a candidate when he was giving a speech in Chatham County, and I've been reflecting this constantly. We as the Republican Party, we need to start talking to the American people, yes, honestly, but focus on the issues that matter. It's not about partisan talking points and beating up on the other party. It's about standing for a series of principles, and it's about dealing with the issues that we know are what people are concerned about, what I'm concerned about. It's about jobs. It's about the economic freedom to create our own jobs and our own businesses. It's about health care. It's about the ability for doctors to be free to take care of their patients. We're watching food safety legislation wind its way through the Senate after having passed the House of Representatives last fall. That's going to put an entirely new federal regulatory burden over all food production in the United States, literally driving small producers out of business. It's about the freedom for farmers to grow their own foods, right? And when we as a party can take back that mantle, the mantle of freedom, the mantle of individual empowerment, the mantle of doing well by doing good, I believe that we are going to reap an amazing harvest here in November. Because the American people are fed up. I'm fed up. We're all fed up. But there's more than just being upset. It's about having a reasonable, rational alternative. And our message is really quite simple. In my 2008 campaign, I gave 50,000 copies of our Declaration of Independence and Constitution. I tell people, look, it's a package deal. 2 for the price of 1. It's 1 book, 2 documents. Read them both. Because when you read the Declaration of Independence and you understand the philosophical foundation upon which our country was founded, it's founded upon the principle that every American individual has the unalienable right, God-given right, to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, we've never lived up to that idea. But in many ways, we're closer than we've ever been before. And our Constitution was our founders' best effort to set up a system of government with checks and balances to give the American people not a democracy, which is tyranny of the majority, where 51% of the people can vote to take your house or your business or your livelihood. No, we were given a constitutional republic. The idea that our government is restrained by law to ensure the freedom of the people. And I think it's a catching message. I'm running in a very, very Democrat-heavy district. Our incumbent's been there for 24 years. I would say he's fat, dumb, and happy, but that'd be kind of, that's not so nice. But he's just been sitting there, kind of out of sight, out of mind, doing the bidding of the establishment, and not giving the American people, the people of our district, the kind of representation that we deserve. America, I believe, is tired of being governed. America wants to be represented. So when we send people up to Washington, we need to be working on sending the representatives who are going to stand for the rule of law and stand against the culture of corruption that is destroying our children's future. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you here tonight and to share the legacy of a truly great president, and I look forward to meeting each and every one of you as we work towards victory for a lot of Republican candidates in North Carolina this November. Thank you very much.